A study of Racing Metro's record in the Heineken Cup underlines just how important this match is for both sides. The Paris club have won at home just once in their relatively short history in the competition, with the two other teams in Pool A, Saracens and Edinburgh, among those who've travelled to Paris in the past and won. So the stakes are high.
And the conditions are improving. It's been appalling all morning. There's a little bit of drizzle in the air, but that will enable these teams to play rugby. I'd expect Munster to try and play, but I'd also expect Ronan O'Gara to probe corners. The late inclusion of Hernandez, well, that changed everything for Racing Metro's point of view. It gives them a dual kicking game, a twin threat from Barkley's boot and that of the Argentinian. And I think young Ian Keatley is going to be put under quite some pressure today.
Well, both sides were beaten last weekend. Munster travelled to Paris without key figures. Well, here is the Racing side, and just a fortnight after playing his last match for Bath, Ollie Barkley gets his first start for Racing Metro. The club has a long injury list, which includes the former France and Munster prop, Julien Brugnot. Mind you, with a budget in excess of 20 million euros, Racing can still name a side packed with quality. Dmitry Sharshevsky makes his first Heineken Cup appearance for 3 seasons and in new colours. Scrum half Maxime Machino is another worth keeping an eye on. The late change sees Juan Martin Hernandez replace Fabrice Estebanez. Benjamin Fowl there at 15. Look out for him. He is a real flyer. After more than 5 months on the sidelines, former captain Paul O'Connell returns to the biggest club stage. It's a huge boost to Munster, who come here without Donnacha O'Callaghan or Keith Earls. At the opposite end of the experience scale, Dave Kilcoyne and Sean Dougal both make their first appearances in the Heineken Cup. But then you can counterbalance that with not only O'Connell, but also the most experienced ever Heineken Cup player, Ronan O'Gara. Ian Keatley is preferred at fullback to Dennis Hurley. Keatley provides an additional place-kicking option. Billy Holland, you can see there, he'll be wearing 4 alongside O'Connell. Racing are playing to their strengths where the replacements are concerned. 6 of them are forwards. For Munster, Horan, Stringer and Hurley have all started Heineken finals.
Interesting one. Had Munster known what the weather was going to be like, would Dennis Hurley, far more secure under the high ball, have played them to test it? The other thing about that bench, the 6-man Racing Metro bench, tells you where they expect to take this game on. Their front row of Lochichero Zarzeski and Dukalkon is very, very powerful. It's a big day for Dave Kilcoyne. He makes his Heineken Cup debut and he has to really stand firm against Dukalkon.
Well, here is Dougie Howlett leading out the Munster side. And remember, they failed to qualify for the knockout phase just once in the last 14 seasons. That was 2 years ago when they were last beaten in France, 32-16, down at the Stade Mayol by Toulon. You could say that the draw this year has not been favourable to Munster. They come here to Paris. The Parisians have got enormous pride, even if they don't have a great history in this competition.
Well, the feel around the ground is that Racing don't believe they will win this cup, but they do believe that they can bloody the nose of one of the great Heineken Cup teams, and it makes it feel a little bit like a final for Paul O'Connell and his men.
Well, there is O'Connell taking to the field. His last appearance was in the Rabo Direct Pro 12 against Ulster back in May. Dougie Howlett, 62 caps for the All Blacks, just short of 50 tries. And here is another man with test experience leading out the home side, Jacques Cronje, the former Springbok. And this the team assembled on that budget in excess of 20 million euros. Juan Martin Hernandez, who will have woken up this morning not expecting to play.
Well, there's big budgets and there's wise spending. Having spent lots of money on players doesn't mean you have a great team. Today we will see whether the purchase of Ollie Barkley was money wisely spent. It's fascinating. Barkley, with so little French, so newly arrived in Paris, can he really shape this team and give the forwards, men like Matingo and Cronje, a chance to go forward?
And it's certainly going to be worth keeping an eye on how things work out at 10 and 12, with Barkley initially named at 10 to play fly half alongside Fabrice Estebanez, who is rather more of a 12. But Juan Martin Hernandez, well, he's a man who in almost every respect prefers to be the centre of attention. There is the referee, Greg Garner from England, taking charge of just his 8th Heineken Cup match.
I don't know. Kick it off if you want.
Well, strap yourself in. It's the first Saturday in the Heineken Cup. And the first ball, clearly not to the liking of Ollie Barkley.
The starts to a Saturday of Heineken Cup rugby goes. That was quite some anticlimax. Barkley up against O'Gara in his Heineken debut. What a test.
Well, I've seen Andy Murray belt a ball back at a ball boy at Wimbledon 1 or 2 times, to say I don't like the look of that one. It's the first time I've seen it in the Heineken Cup. Here he is, 2 weeks ago. He was playing for Bath against Sale. Today, he's playing for the, well, I suppose you would say the new Kings of Paris. They've made the playoffs in the top 14 for each of the last 3 seasons, Racing Metro. How will they go in this year's Heineken Cup? There's Ronan O'Gara, the first high ball, and it's on that man Barkley. Here's Benjamin Fowle. On to Machino, the little chip over the top. That was comfortably fielded by Howlett. And O'Gara finds touch.
Good strike that from Ronan O'Gara. Kicked well in the preliminaries to this match. His last kick before he went off after everyone else has left the field was a beautifully struck spiral bomb. Just get the feeling the pressure might be off for O'Gara in terms of international rugby. He's told people he'll play till he's 38. He's his own man. Don't be surprised if he sees this as a rare chance to impress on one of the big grounds.
Well, there is Sharshevsky, a figure we tend to associate with the other Paris club, Stade Francais. He was in tears when he played his final game for Stade at the end of last season. And look at the powerful drive there from Munster. It's Varley getting his hands on the ball. That's Murray. That doesn't go to hand. Here's Howlett. Out to Laulala. Full back, straight in the line there, Keatley. O'Gara again. Donica Ryan playing in the back row today. Adds a bit of ballast to that part of the scrum. Laulala with the kick. And it ricochets off a Parisian foot.
Aggressive start from the Munster pack. They'll feel really good about the pressure they put on the Metro line out and the way they turned it there. Good cohesion there. Going off their feet, Greg Garner. Will he penalise people for doing that? It's terrible conditions underfoot, so he does need to be a little bit liberal, a little bit looser with his interpretation, but a tremendous Munster drive to start.
One of the subplots here, the backs coach for Munster, Simon Mannix, who made his coaching reputation here at Racing Metro, but he was sacked in November and he resurfaced in Ireland. There's Varley. He's got the ball tucked underneath his left arm. 9 metres inside the Racing Metro half.
Well, at the moment, the star of the show is the Munster 8. They're determined to give a good front football for their halfbacks.
O'Gara onto Laulala. Out to Keatley. Keatley with a little grubber through. It's turned Benjamin Fowle. Fowle falls on it. They did well, but he's carried it over.
Tremendous play from Munster. Front football for Conor Murray. O'Gara spreading it wide and an extremely intelligent kick from Ian Keatley. And that's the bonus of having a football in 10 in the 15 zone. Lovely kick there. The weight is perfection. Benjamin Fowle always under pressure, and Munster, as they so often do, get the red shirts there. And if you look at the way they've driven the first 2 lineouts, if they can turn their scrum into as cohesive a unit, this is going to be a real threat to Metro.
So not yet 4 minutes on the clock. Munster with the line out, 5 metres out. And it's a real test of Luc Ducalcon on this side, the tight head. It would be fair to say he's in the 3 most highly rated tight heads in France.
Bit of concern, a bit of angst in France about what's been happening to their front row. Whoa, bit of concern with what's happening there.
Well, that was BJ Borter and Karim Ghazal. You can see wearing 4 there. He's got something to say. And Antoine Batut and Donica Ryan, the 2 6s. Well, if you need to know that this Heineken Cup matters, that serves to illustrate it.
Okay, when the whistle goes, we'll stop. Okay, talk to your players. No more of that, please. Okay? No. Talk to your players, please. Yeah, okay.
Well, the polite warning from Greg Garner.
Racing struggle at the first 2 line-outs, but with this powerful, hugely experienced all-international front row, can they put the skids under young Dave Kilcoyne and company? BJ Borter, so important on the tight here.
Up against Ducalcon, Szarzewski, Locicher over on the far side. And look at the power of that Munster pack. The penalty's been awarded.
Oh, well, did you hear someone with an Irish accent shout penalty try? It wasn't just what was going on in my mind there, because in the end, Munster had the march going. Did Greg Garner see an infringement by Munster, a knock-on to stop it? But certainly, with the pace of that drive, if that happens again, you can see the English referee going straight under the post. Very powerful start from Munster.
What a compliment it is, because this Racing Metro pack is very highly regarded as a scrummaging unit in France. Looking over the shoulder there of Simon Zebo. Don't think there's much chance of it going out there here. Well, once again, problems for Racing. That's a 2nd penalty.
Technical infringement there. He's not insinuating that the penalty was to stop Munster scrumming their way over the line. But certainly the first infringement was of that nature. Second one, you can see it there. Munster will go for this one at least once more.
Well, persistent rain for the last 3 or 4 hours in Paris.
Just come a little bit closer, please, both sides. Far too far away.
And that's certainly something that Greg Garner, or the impact it's having on the surface here at the Stade de France, is something that the referee will take account of. O'Connell back after 5 months. A talismanic figure.
The cut on this surface, it's a sort of look to it you'd associate with a sort of a junior field somewhere in a rugby field in Munster, isn't it? It's got that Irish soaked look to it.
The picket from Omani. There's a run over it. Also Dougal. Popped up there by Holland. The drive on from O'Connell. There's Murray again. He was half caught by Barkley. O'Connell, referee playing advantage now to Munster. Murray out to O'Gara, there's Laulala, Keithley again. Good covering tackle, but we're going to come back for the penalty.
I think Ronan O'Gara and Paul O'Connell, quite a word with Doug Howlett, the captain. A lot of pressure. European rugby take the 3 points. But Doug Howlett pointed there, but he almost looks slightly embarrassed then. O'Gara just gobbled the ball up. Paul O'Connell, you could see him striding around, pointing at the post, and then Doug Howlett just confirmed it. agreed with a duopoly of power.
So Ronan O'Gara, 1,298 points in his Heineken Cup career. O'Gara goes through 1,300 points in the Heineken Cup. Munster have 3 and the early lead.
Caps a good first 8.5 minutes or so from Munster. Played well. The line-out's been very efficient. The scrum's good. Paul O'Connell and company are driving well. They forced the penalty there from Van der Merwe, and O'Gara does the right thing, takes the 3 points.
Barkley with the restart. Dougal feeding it back to Murray. Good catch there from Benjamin Fowl.
The error comes from Munster there, a knock-on, but it was a decent kick from Murray. The chase is very aggressive. Certainly there's no doubt about it. If you said which of these two teams has a history of Heineken rugby and which of these two teams is really up for it, you'd say it's that bunch in red. Good start from Munster. Benjamin Fowl is being put under a lot of early pressure. We saw him going down on the ground a few minutes ago. That time, getting hit in the tackle and the ball spills again.
Fowl's international experience on the wing. First cap when he was down at Bayonne. He's rather lost his way since he made the move up to Paris. He suffered a lot with injuries. Had knee surgery a little more than a year ago. Made his return to the international scene during the summer in Argentina. The pass there on to Mirko Bergamasco. Machino. Barkley. Howlett was well positioned.
Well, again, advantage Munster with the kick in. Ollie Barkley will have to kick better than that. His relationship with Machino a little bit slow there. Not quite certain what's happening. He dropped in the pocket, and Doug Howlett had all in times in the world there just to get back. Advertised back to O'Gara, and another good strike from O'Gara.
There is Fabrice Estebanez missing. Originally on the team sheet, we understand he's got a bit of a hamstring problem. That is why he was replaced in the last couple of hours by Hernandez. Well, there it is for Racing. That's Matadigo. Matadigo, a while ago, played for Saracens, really established his reputation in France with some stunning performances for Montpellier.
Good World Cup as well for Fiji.
Barkley again. Bergamasco's after it. Murray's underneath it. Knocked on. Referee playing advantage here to Munster.
Oh, well played, Ian Keatley. Good kick. Putting pressure on Fowl there. No angle.
O'Gara. Well, you can hear from the effects microphones just how stodgy it is out there. O'Connell picks it up there to Laulala. Out to Murray. Fowl makes the tackle.
It is all Munster at the moment. When Racing put the ball up, it ricochets back the side of Munster. When O'Gara puts a steepling kick up, they're underneath it, and O'Connell's keeping it going. Pressure on Racing. That was a good line out, though.
Well, it was quickly taken by Sharshevsky. Straight to, well, O'Connell being penalised.
Well, that's very smart from Racing there, because at the moment, Munster are settled in their game. They're setting everything, and they've got complete control. So for Zarzeski just to go quick on the line out as he did there, just unsettle the away team. Good play there from the 63 times capped French hooker. see Munster not quite ready for the first time, and O'Connell, I think because of that, he's just eager, he's just gone over the mark. Here's his sidekick, Ronan O'Gara. Great height on that kick, and Paul O'Connell, influential in the loose already.
Krzyzewski goes to Batut this time. There's Machinot. Tries to get the offload away to Julien Janet, but it's been knocked on. Here's Zebo. Zebo, the little grubber ahead. It's a scrum half, Machinot, who's back.
It's one team in this game at the moment. It really is all about Munster, and from the Munster point of view, they'll be delighted that the heavy rain that was forecast all day for Paris has gone away, and there's even a bit of bright light above us there. O'Connell looking to make the tackle there, and then Zebo, when it spills his way, smart kick again, not for the first time. Munster just dabbing the ball behind Racing, putting them under pressure, and then reclaiming the ball from the line out.
Damien Varley replacing Mike Sherry today. There's Murray. That was well gathered. On to Dougal. Oh, and he's over. And the pressure has eventually told. And it's Sean Dougal, the man who just a few months ago was playing his rugby in the Championship at Rotherham.
Well, it wasn't the most intricately worked move. The line out initially is good. This pass just hangs in the wrong place. But rushed up there in midfield, Racing, and Dougal, debutant try, as it's been for the first 15, all of Munster behind. Barkley and Hernandez don't get their lines right there. Hernandez rushed up, and the pass was weighted, not deliberately so, but it meant the Argentinian had rushed up way out of his line, and it meant that Munster could just pour through, and when they saw the sniff of the line, Dougal had 4 men driving him over. It's no less than they deserve.
O'Gara adds the 2 points. It has been all Munster.
Barkley and Hernandez all over the place there. Actually, they were defending, I think, with Hernandez in the 10 channel, Barkley a little bit wider. A dogleg, it was too much of an invitation for a Munster team that really have been by far the better side early on and deserve a double-digit lead.
Peter O'Mahony, a significant contributor there as well. Murray, back to O'Gara. Here's Barkley. Well, Fowl was after it. And on a day like today, don't underestimate how tough and important catches are like that.
That was a great take by Peter O'Mahony there, wasn't it? Because the kick was just half a metre too long, but there was pressure on him. They're doing the basics very well, Munster, at the moment. There you can see, he knows he's in his 22, he knows Fowl is coming, he knows he's got the sanctuary of the mark, and he takes it really well. And again, Munster kicked their way well out of trouble.
O'Mahony having just his 2nd start of the season. Try scorer last weekend at the Aviva against Leinster. Czarszewski goes to Gazal at the tail. Here's Machinot, who started France's last international in Argentina in June at 9. Half-back partnership there with Freddie Michelat, but it's a penalty to Racing.
Well, it's vital for the home side that they get 3 points here. They have not had a sniff of this game. One of the reasons Ollie Barkley has been signed for Bath was to turn these possibilities into points. He's kicking from the ground, excellent for Bath so far this season. And there you can see Downey way off his feet there. 45 metres, bang in front of goal, but this is not your average Stade de France surface. It is very sticky there.
Racing 10 points down in the 19th minute. and missed the first opportunity. Well, Barkley's kicking stats in the Premiership very impressive indeed. 29 from 34.
He's just about inside the range he's been striking at for Bath this season. He hasn't been hugely long. What he has been is extraordinarily accurate.
Well, he's got the distance just and the line.
Superb kick because it is just about at his maximum length there, but his technique's held really well and in difficult conditions. That's a fine kick from Ollie Barkley. It gets the home flags going. It's not the biggest crowd we've ever seen here, but there's a good atmosphere.
Yes, we reckon there were about 17,000 sales, but the ticket price was relatively modest, and certainly the weather 3 or 4 hours ago wasn't great, so we certainly reckon a crowd below 20,000, but they've all got those sky blue and white flags. Jene, back to Machino. Keatley. On to O'Gara, who just has this ability to raise his game for the Heineken Cup. Machino read that well. Fowle was in support, but just slipped on the surface.
Nice play from Barkley. Racing dropped 2 wingers deep. He looked up and he just dinked it right behind into the hole.
And that time finding the gap between the 2 halfbacks.
Another superb strike from Ronan O'Gara. Very interesting, Ollie Barkley's long kick down the middle. That's been a favoured policy at the recreation ground in Bath all season, giving ball away and then putting pressure on. But at the moment, O'Gara, he's striking it superbly.
Well, there is Johnny Leo, one of the injured Racing players, alongside Alvaro Galindo, who was away with Argentina at the Rugby Championship. There really is a fair old 15 watching from the sidelines here. The Racing squad, very deep, the sort of squad you can put together on 20-odd million euros. Here's Mirko Bergamasco. Well, I think it's fair to say kicking not his strongest suit.
Doesn't have a reputation as a kicker, and he lived up to his billing there. If he was going to kick, it had to go off the left foot. It wasn't very good back play either. Difficult conditions, but Barkley's pass fell away a little bit, and Quesada there in charge of the team. He'll know that. Of course, he wasn't necessarily the most fluid of fly halves himself, but what a goal kicker. What a goal kicker he was.
Well, he's the man in charge at Racing at the moment. There must be some insecurity off the pitch here in Paris, with the news earlier in the week that the 2 Laurents, Labitte and Trevert, are leaving Castres. It was reported last summer that they're on their way here. Jene. There it is for Machino. Fine support from the captain there, Cronier. This is rather better for the first time. More than a quarter of the way in the match. But look at the red jerseys. Machino. And that just caught the back of James Downey. O'Gara, great step. It's taken out of the 22. Ian Keatley steps in to play scrum half.
Use it.
Omani, whose contribution so far has been significant.
Keatley now steps back to play the fly half and clear his line, with O'Gara just easing his way out of that ruck. A little bit better there from Racing Metro. Lovely hands from Mirko Bergamasco. We knocked his kicking skills, but his left to right pass, very good. One of their better attacks. Barkley moves it out. Hernandez, and that's lovely hands from the Italian international.
Julian Jene, who in his 3 seasons or so at Racing Metro hasn't had too many opportunities, getting his 4th start today of the season. He's had a lot of injury problems. Head back there from Gazal, that was Machino, on to Hernandez. Machino. Batut. Oh, but there was no support. And back scuttles Julian Sobad. On Sabati's caught. That's great work again from Munster. It was Conor Murray that time. Well, Cronier just feeding it back between his legs. And Barkley's caught. Well, I don't think Barkley will be particularly happy with his captain.
Superb pressure from Munster, spearheaded by Conor Murray there. He waited till Sabat came up and kept the pressure on with a big hit. But what was Cronier doing there? Even on the firm grounds of Bloemfontein, from where he hails, you don't do that. But look at that, in a bog, what are you doing there? Ollie Barkley always under pressure. And Peter O'Mahony, who has been influential in the first 25 minutes, just sacks the outside half there. And you can understand the look on the face there of Quesada. Dreadful play from Metro. And with the way the Munster scrum has been going, you have to say this is an opportunity for points. Possibly a pen, maybe even more.
Well, they've had encouragement in this position already in the first 5 minutes. Picked up by Omani. The step, Omani for the line. Well, Machino was in there, but the ball's over the line, and it's been grounded and awarded by Greg Garner.
Rose, are you happy with it? Go and check. Okay, all right, I'll go and check.
Well, Greg Garner's actually just having a word there with his assistant David Rose, and I think he may well refer this to the TMO, having initially awarded the try. He says he's just going to check. But it's over to you, Trevor Fisher.
Yes or no, please? Okay, thank you.
Yes or no, the question.
Okay, well, it's worth having a look, isn't it?
Oh, it's lost. Pat essay it is. I think Paul O'Connell, it slipped out of his grasp. Yes, it has. There it goes. Drop, goes forward. French crowd are booing because I think at the moment they think the try has been awarded. They're going to be changing to cheers in a second.
Yes, Trevor. Okay. Okay, so it's going to be a 5-metre scrum to Racing. Yes, is that correct? Okay, thank you. No try.
Well, Greg Garner a little bit hasty, but in fairness to the referee, he consulted with his assistant David Rose over on the far side, who suggested that they go to the man in the television truck. And Trevor Fisher, well, he saw just what Stewart saw.
Now, the stronger referee is the one who's not afraid to go to someone and just double-check that decision. Garner could have just said, yes, we've seen a few of those decisions this season, and it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth when they're wrong. He gave it quickly. In a split second, he thought, hang on a minute. He went to Rose, and we've got the right decision. 5-metre scrum. Pressure's still on Racing, though.
Penalty this time awarded to the defending side as the two front rows crash to the turf, and it's Dave Kilcoyne who's been penalised.
Interesting. Barkley practicing the kicking all week, even with Hernandez in that fabulous boot there. Barkley will kick for touch, and he's kicking for goal. You can see that there. Dave Kilcoyne can't take the pressure coming on from Ducalcon. Typical Munster fashion there. The other 7 forwards get round him and say, don't worry, we can work this out. They've worked things out for a long time.
Well, there is Rob Penny in the middle. To his right, our left Simon Mannix.
And Anthony Foley, the one man of Munster there, through so much, thick and thin.
Francois van der Merwe was the man who took the line-out ball. Here is Matadigo. He really is a classic top-of-the-ground horse, is Matadigo, on a dry surface. He's an explosive attacking 8.
Well played, Howler.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? The pass not going to hand, recovered by Laulala. The tackle from Bergamasco on the halfway line. Penalty awarded to Racing.
Well, they've been on the back foot, they've been taking a few body blows, but they're hanging on in there, and you can see Lo Cicero, just 95 caps for Italy, and he's bouncing around on this surface, just patting everyone on the head there. Howlett looked for the counter-attack. There's some ambition in the way Munster are playing. Precision not always there, and the defence from Racing just picking up a bit at the moment. And Barkley probes.
Yes, Barkley having his first start for Racing today. Came on for the last 20 minutes or so of the top 14 game at Colombes last week against Montpellier, which Racing lost.
Casey Laulala penalised there. You can see why Munster need to be careful at the breakdown. They're just being pinged once or twice at the moment by Ghana.
Czajewski, well, he was looking for Batut and he couldn't find him. And it was Damien Varley who did the recovery work there for Munster. Murray, back to O'Gara. That's a little chip over the top, intended for Downey. Downey pats it backwards, but then it's knocked on. And knocked on by Jacques Cronier.
Surprising play there, Ronan O'Gara, just 10-3 up in these conditions. He's been striking the ball sweetly in long distances. It tells you that Munster really do think they're in control. Here's Zarzeski ambitiously on a day like this going to the tail, and the ball taken. That's a line out for Varley. Very ambitious there from Ronan O'Gara. Hernandez gets back there. He's a tall man, he's got good spring, and that could have been a problem.
Yes, it was certainly a chance miss, wasn't it, by Cronier?
Slightly surprising. It's almost impatient there from Ronan O'Gara, just trying to go early. But again, the flip side of that is he and his men in red feel that they are in control of this game, and that there's only 7 points on the scoreboard. They have been, by and large, for all 28 minutes. But then you go back to the other point, there's only 7 on the scoreboard, and Munster need to be aware of that.
And they've got the manpower challenges at hooker as well, with Damien Varley having taken a knock. Mike Sherry on the bench. He left the Aviva Stadium last week after the defeat by Leinster on crutches. We were assured it was just purely as a precaution after turning his ankle. So approaching the end of the first half hour at the Stade de France. Munster leading by 10 points to 3. The try from Sean Dougal. There's Zebo. What a 2012 he's had. He really caught our attention with that second half hat-trick against Northampton at Milton Keynes. Made his international debut in the summer. These perhaps not the best conditions in which to show us what he's capable of.
No, it's very important for all 4 wingers today to make sure their chasing game is good, keep the opposition under pressure. And we saw then, not just that he can score tries and he's lightning quick, he's got a very useful left boot. He's made 40 metres there. That's a great kicking option. O'Gara, Keatley and Zebo there.
I saw him play against Munster a couple of weeks ago as well, and he showed how strong he is under the high ball. That was Janet who would reach out for that. Just caught it with his fingertips before dragging it in. Here's Machinot. Here's Zebo under that high ball.
Takes that well too.
After I talked him up, it was just as well, I suppose. There's O'Gara. Oh, it's a superb kick.
Roll back the years. Ronan O'Gara with an acute angle, sticks it within a millimetre of where he wants it, strides quietly up, and his forwards, little nod. Thanks, Ronan. That's brilliant.
There have been 1 or 2 people in Munster muffling behind their hands that perhaps Keatley should be the man starting at 10. And I think Ronan O'Gara has shown in the last half hour just why the 10 jersey is his. He really is a man for the big occasion, and also particularly in conditions like this. Eventually getting into the hands there of Machinot. There's Zebo. He took on Genet, didn't get past him. Murray missing out Keatley to O'Gara. Oh, well, it's fumbled forward. And here's a chance, that's Cronje. Benjamin Farr was after it, and here's the chance for Racing, and they've got it. And Maxime Machinot, it is, who's got the touch. Well, Greg Garner, I think once again is going to check this.
Well, we've built Ronan O'Gara up. He's played very well. He's kicked superbly, but that's a horrible pass from him that his midfield men can't hold, and that leads on to the kick through. That's going to be given. Chest on the ball.
That's good enough.
Doesn't want to get his hands anywhere near that. He did. I think it's fair to say there's a lack of conviction in that.
Well, Trevor Fisher's having a good look at this.
Do you know what? Has that squirted out of his right side?
What are you checking there? Try yes or no again. Sorry, Trevor, yes, yeah? Okay, I may want to try. Thanks very much.
Well, Racing Metro have certainly been on the back foot for most of the first half, but now they have the chance to bring themselves back even.
That's the reason Doug Howlett can't get that ball from Ronan O'Gara. It's not handled very well by Keatley there, and real pace. The scrum half just flies up, comes up on the blind side of the number 8, Peter O'Mahony, gets past him, and then it's 2 against nothing, and it should be 10-all. And for Munster having complete control of this round 1 Heineken game, it's right back in the balance now after some loose play in their own half.
Well, Ollie Barkley does the rest, and there is Maxime Machinot in his first season since the move up from Agen.
Keatley can't quite get there. The hack on from Cronje. Down he comes across. The scrum half is quick. Was he 100% certain himself there?
Genet back to the try scorer Machinot.
Intriguing now because Munster have been the better team. Couple of errors, and we're back where we were at kick-off. Munster have just got to say to themselves, hey, we are the better team. We'll just cut out the errors, play in the right parts of the field.
Oh, do you? Okay, sorry, I didn't realise.
Well, Racing's only victory in their Heineken Cup history, almost 2 years to the day, when they beat Clermont-Auvergne over at Colombes, and it was very much a second-string Clermont side. As we see, Ronan O'Gara clearly in some trouble, and they're making the change, and on comes Dennis Hurley, so it'll be Hurley to 15, Keatley will move up to 10. So a second blow in a couple of minutes for Munster.
Well, that's a major blow. That's probably a bigger blow than the try. I know the pass fell away, but he's been kicking very well. And now Ian Keatley has to go into the shotgun position and run this. Hurley should relish the conditions, but Keatley now has got to play with real calm and assurance.
So yet more encouragement for Racing. There's Downey. A tackle from Barkley. Oh, the referee says the ball's out, and Machinot was through incredibly fast.
Quite right.
There's Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe, a product of Grey College in Bloemfontein. El Majo, Hernandez. Back to Barkley. Well, the rain is still falling in Paris. Zebo straight back to Machinot. Barkley's after it. Keatley's underneath it. Barkley makes the tackle.
Now the ball is starting to spill out uncomfortably on the Munster side.
Laulala, and he's charged down, and it's Ghazal. Oh, and Keighley was very smartly back, and he saved the day for Munster.
Well, I think the crowd think Ghazal was taken out off the ball there. Terrible play from Laulala.
You have to be moving a little bit.
Well, he is. Conor Murray, now I don't know whether he's going to score. He's not going to score. Can't be a penalty try, but that is a penalty and a yellow card against Conor Murray, and it's missed. Keighley's in front of the second row, isn't he? So you can't go penalty try there, but that is 100% a professional foul, and that had to be a yellow card and penalty.
Well, there's Ghazal rising high in the line-out. Czarszewski, driven on by Racing, they're over the line, can they get it down? Well, what will Greg Garner's call be here? Well, who would have thought half an hour ago it would be Munster who are crying out for the half-time whistle?
Well, unusually for Munster as well, there's a lack of composure at the moment. The last 10 minutes, they have got really ragged. They've just done 2 or 3 stupid non-Heineken things, and they have lost their heads completely.
Well, Antoine Batout having some forceful words there with the referee.
Well, problem for Munster, there's a sense of outraged righteousness now. You see Casadas there saying, you know, we should be looking up top, as the saying goes, to see. I think they think it should have been a penalty try. It shouldn't, but they know there's been a gross injustice, a gross miscarriage of justice, certainly.
Well, Greg Garner's had a testing first 40, hasn't he?
Now, Munster's scrum had control in the first 15 minutes, but do Calcon and company feel up for this?
And the rain is coming down harder than it has done all morning. Matadigo there. Czarszewski looking left but then going right. Donica Ryan in hard there for Munster. Penalty to Racing.
Well, Barkley should really go for 3 points. The emotional thing here is to go to the corner and keep it going, but it's a sticky old day. And these conditions, that's exactly what you do. Go for the 3 points. They've got control at the moment. Czarszewski's everywhere. That was really good play from Donica Ryan. But right now, Munster are leaking penalties. They're making mistakes. And in a day when you don't think there'll be too many tries, when Barkley's kicking as he has been kicking, you have to go for the 3-point option.
Donica Ryan, who starting in the back row today. He was at lock for the match against Leinster last week. And a little more than 2 minutes to go. So can Ollie Barkley take Racing in front as we approach half-time? This would have been a very unlikely scenario 20-odd minutes ago. And Barkley's kicking form, which he left off at Bath, has picked up in much the same vein in Paris.
For the first 20 minutes, we were just thinking, pretty decent performance from Munster. All that Heineken Cup experience, they're dominating, but they've become their own worst enemies. They've given Racing Metro a way back into this game, and full of fire and fury, the Frenchmen have come at them, and they have the lead. It's an intriguing Heineken match now.
Janet feeding the ball back to Barkley, and Barkley finds touch just short of halfway. Well, there is Simon Mannix. getting out of his seat. And certainly they got one or two issues to address, have the Munster staff.
Well, it's Munster who need half-time more. They were the better team for most of this game. But as I say, own worst enemies. They've given Racing a sniff. And with Barkley and Hernandez and Machino driving them forward, they will believe they can get a famous win here.
There's Downey onto the Munster try scorer, Dougal. Murray. Laulala takes play just inside the Racing half. Keatley onto O'Mahony. O'Mahony's had a superb first 40.
Just Martin. Munster are just trying to play too much from areas. You can see they're getting themselves in trouble here. Ball has to go downfield. Racing scavenging. It's going to be half-time, but Munster are really giving them a sniff here.
And Greg Garner blows the whistle for the end of the first half. And it was a first half very much of two halves. Sean Dougal, the try for Munster, and at that point with a 10-point lead, it was looking all too easy for the former champions. But Racing Metro have come back into it. They picked up the try. Ollie Barkley's boot is working at half-time at the Stade de France. It's Racing Metro 13, Munster 10.
Munster went 6 from 6 in the pool campaign last time around. They have work to do if they're to open with an away win this time. They trail by 13 points to 10 to Racing Metro. Second half just a few moments away. It's back to Stuart Barnes and Martin Gillingham.
Well, the try from Maxime Machino mixed up with a sense of injustice from that tackle off the ball from Conor Murray, which essentially went unpunished, I think has helped Racing Metro discover their appetite for the Heineken Cup. They've come back from 10 points down and what was looking like becoming a hopeless position to now lead the match. And certainly they will have been inspired as well by the departure of Ronan O'Gara with that hamstring injury.
Well, it was a lovely kick from Racing's number 10, Ollie Barkley. Long way, left foot. He arced his body and really clipped that one. But yeah, it's the man wearing 15 playing 10 who's key for Munster now. Their forwards will try and re-establish some control, but Keatley's got to put them in the right part. They've got to stop going wide in their own 40 metres from their own line and start pressing Racing in the last 22.
Well, it's certainly the most testing 40 in Keatley's career, and there is a little chip over the top, and that was superbly read by Benjamin Fal. But look at the red jerseys coming through. At Machino just finds Zebo. Zebo straight into Hernandez, and also Julian Janet. There's Murray, Keatley, Laulala. And then the captain, Howlett, gets caught.
Just no conviction in their passing game, and I understand it in these elements, so don't pass it. Get down there.
Early on to Zebo. Across is Hernandez. Hernandez playing after, 7 days? In fact, less than 7 days after he was playing for Argentina in Rosario against the Wallabies last weekend. The ball's gone forward, referee playing advantage here to Racing. The captain, Cronier, falls on it. There's foul. Back to Barkley. Racing actually have 3 fly halves on the injury list at the moment. Hurley. Back goes Janet. Oh, and Janet got a hand to it.
Yeah, the 7 specialist looked very much out of his depth there in 15, just lost the geography of where he was. It's a decent kick from Hurley. It's a very good kick from Hurley. There's no way Janet knows whether that's coming down in or outside. I guess the answer is he just lets it go because it's too difficult to catch. Instead, he's tried to make it his and he's got no chance, and Munster take ball control.
So 2.5 minutes into the second half. Munster with good field position. Line out on the Racing 22. Racing's only victory in their last 9 Heineken Cup ties. That was away to London Irish at the Medeski. And and it goes back almost 12 months. Machino, the try scorer. So problems from the line out there for Munster. Barkley finds Hurley. Hurley, who started a Heineken Cup final. Matadigo.
An unlikely name to be associated with a kick. It's very much the Ollie Barkley school of kick as well, between the two. 15, and just say to Munster, what do you got? And as usual with Simon Zebo, it's quite a lot when it comes to that left boot of his.
There he is, Simon Zebo. Made his Ireland debut against New Zealand at Eden Park in June.
This is really good play from Batut there. Antoine Batut got very high, and you see Jacques Cronje reflexes fast there. They're just up for this now, aren't they? They've just got a sniff of something that they didn't think was possible at half an hour.
That time it was Gazelle. Yes, Antoine Batut is one of a large number of prominent players in the French league who learnt their rugby in the academy at Toulouse but never made it with the Rouge et Noir. As Zebo gets caught by Janet. Janet anxious to atone for that earlier error. There's Murray. On to Donica Ryan. Murray. Zebo. You could hear there was a sense on the part of Racing Metro that they were a little light there on the short side, which rather alerted Conor Murray to the opportunity. Well, that's got plenty of height, but perhaps not enough depth. Hernandez, who got a bit of help there from Benjamin Fowl.
Clears that up. A lot of composure, best position, full back. Very assured when the ball is bouncing around there.
Taken forward there by Matadigo. There's Machino, back to Barkley. Murray was underneath at this time.
It's a good take from the scrum half, Conor Murray again. Barkley going straight between the two 15s, high ball, a lot of pressure.
Back from Keatley to Zebo. No problems with that one from Janet, although in all fairness he wasn't really tested. And Barkley drives it down the touchline. Good kick from the fly half.
Now in the first 20 minutes of the first half, O'Gara was winning the kicking battle. Ollie Barkley's finding good length now. That's a decent kick though, space.
That was Keatley. Racing caught just a little bit by that one. And it's Machino who finds touch, but they will feel that that kicking battle went the way of Munster.
Not a bad clearance from Machino in the end, though, was it? It scrambled back, the try scorer. You can see Paul O'Connell taking his time as Munster try and set these line-outs. They want to just get the collective right, get a little bit tighter, get the driving game going, maybe get a few penalties and some territory from that.
Here's Keatley. Downey. Oh, the offload there to Zebo. The tackle from Matadigo. Keatley. Laulala. But the conditions are getting stickier and stickier. The rain looks like it's stopped, but it has been raining persistently for 5 hours in Paris. That was a little bit overnight as well. There's Howlett into Laulala. The try scorer just handing it on there, but Racing are through on that very quickly. Oh, that was brave. And Munster have it. The captain did well there.
He has a right scrap at the breakdown there. Good to see Racing putting numbers in and Munster just about recouping.
Downey out to Zebo. 3 points separate the sides. Approaching the last half hour. There's foul. But he was caught. That was a good tackle from Billy Holland. Well, it's a Racing ball. There it is for Machino.
Munster have dropped 4 men deep in their own 22 waiting for Barkley.
Well, Zebo with the offload, but it went forward. Referee playing advantage. Janet through. And that was well recovered by Murray, but referee playing advantage again, so it'll be a scrum and a Racing ball.
In the end, it's a knock-on by Murray, but he might just have saved his team a try there. He had to reach for that one because Janet was almost away. Another error. Zebo waiting, 4-man net for the Ollie Barkley kick, runs it back, and the quality of the pass is not good enough. Does so well there. Munster was stretched. We see that on the wider angle. You'd see the emergency of the situation. Poor pass behind Omani. Casey Laulala getting dumped there by Hernandez. Hernandez has been quiet but very good defensively. Laulala, I guess you say he's just been quiet.
Well, it's the first Saturday in the Heineken Cup. I think rather too early to talk in terms of periods that will come to define a season, but certainly when you consider that the other two sides in Pool 1, Edinburgh and Saracens, have been to Racing in the course of the last 2 seasons and won, Munster will be acutely aware of how important it is to get a result here in Paris today.
Penalties in the first 20 minutes at the scrum tended to go the way of the team in red. Now they're going the other way as Ducalcon and company put the pressure on. Ollie Barkley gently moved 2 or 3 metres by Greg Garner. It's that way, Ollie, further from the posts. Kicked beautifully so far, but it's a boggy old day out there. And as I said with the first one, which he waited perfectly to just get over the post, we're not that far from the limits of his range. It's a long kick.
Well, if you continue the arc around to the centre of the field, I would say, if anything, this is maybe 1 metre or 2 metres longer than the one he got in the first half.
Well, they call you Euclid, and I will bow to your geometric supremacy. I know exactly what you mean.
You're very kind. But certainly, it is very similar.
Yeah, 46, 47. That's harbouring a guess. Our French broadcasted host haven't told us, so Gillingham and Barnes, geometry lesson.
If anything, it's a bit damper and a bit stodgier, though, out there. But Barkley, that's
Brilliant.
a superb strike.
A brilliant kick from Ollie Barkley. Pure composure there. Not worrying about the distance, just worrying about the strike, keeping the rhythm there. If it comes short, so be it. Just give it everything you can. And that is a gorgeous kick.
Ollie Barkley, popular in Paris. It's now a 6-point lead. Machinot fires it down the touchline. And now, well, almost every Racing player appears to have the Midas touch, or at least something close to it.
Well, Machinot is all over the place at the moment, and you know, for half an hour, this was one of the worst performances I've seen from a French team at home in the Heineken Cup. Munster were horribly naive for the last 10 of the first half, and now they've opened the door, and they can't stop Racing pouring through at the moment.
Yes, their record in 2 seasons in the Heineken Cup leads you, I think, justifiably to question Racing's commitment to this competition. But I think there were 3 incidents which came one after the other. There was the try, the injury to Ronan O'Gara, and the sense of injustice from that tackle off the ball on Karim Ghazal from Conor Murray, which have fueled the Racing fires. Here's Ducalcon, former Castres player, made the move up in the summer. The rumours have it he'll be joined by his old coaches next summer. Barkley with the high ball, fouls after it.
Now, has Fowl run into his man, or was that a cynical block by Conor Murray? If it is a cynical block, he's a little bit lucky not to get carded. Now this goes over from Barkley. This is the scenario we were talking about. Couple of penalties, 19-10, horrible conditions. Munster are up against it. Fall chasing it. Does Conor Murray block him? Keeps an eye on him. Gets in the way. Greg Garner in great position. You know, that's 2 yellow cards Conor Murray's got away with.
It's all in the eyes, isn't it? You could see the eyes of Conor Murray, knew exactly what he was doing.
What was he doing? He sort of committed sporting suicide for Munster. They're 16-10 down. He actually is in front of Benjamin Fowl if he goes for the ball, but he just thinks I'll cleverly take him out. Oh, and the ref's 2 metres from me. He spotted me. That was daft from Murray.
Well, he's certainly a marked man, isn't he, Murray? By the 17 or 18,000 that we have here at the Stade de France after that incident towards the end of the first period.
Already marked this down as 19-10. The way Barkley has kicked, it's not 100% so much, the fact that every ball has been straight through the middle.
And on a day like today, 9 points, a very handy lead. Well, his place kicking had been without blemish until that moment. And that was certainly one that got away.
And that's my notebook, blotted. Played all right this half, though. You give him 1 missed kick because he's got 2 beauties, and he has really put himself around defensively, and in the second half his tactical kick-in has been long.
So it remains 16 points to 10.
Problem for Munster is, right now, they're no longer at the very top of the European game. They're not one of the elite, but because of their heroics over the last 15 years or so, for a team like Racing Metro, to beat Munster is to beat one of the Heineken Cup's great names, and it just puts them under pressure all the time. They're a scalp still, even if they're not the force they once were.
And they did win all 6 last year. Well, Greg Garner's got 1 or 2 problems with the sound equipment.
Yeah, Rosie? Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Munster have made that change in the front row. Mike Sherry is on for Damien Varley. Keatley with a high-hanging restart. That was caught by Batut.
Take a step, Munster!
Machino onto his captain, Cronier. Barkley again with another tester.
Beauty just outside the 22.
Keatley it is who knocks it on. Chance here for Machino. Janet, ball in hand. First time today. And rather too much weight on it.
A little bit excitable, that kick there. A beauty from Ollie Barkley. Towering kick just outside the 22. Too good for Hurley, as you can see. And Machino, who I think has been splendid in the last half hour, alive to everything. Janet's got pace, but just overdoes that one. Perhaps he'd been better off staying infield earlier. Once he goes on that outward arc, there's nowhere really for him to go other than a weighted kick.
Change in the front row being made by Racing Metro. Off goes Luc de Calcon. On is Benjamin Sarr, who has a reputation for being a mighty scrummager. So Keatley. Barkley again. And once again it's coming down just outside the 22, and Keatley that time powerful under the high ball. Murray onto Lalala, onto Omani, and there is Sherry.
Going from deep again. Got the penalty this time.
Off goes Omani, Zebo. And Janet had to be alert. Alar again. Onto O'Connell. O'Connell, his first appearance in more than 5 months. Zebo Well, there's some space there. There's a lot of space there, and the ball's still in play. And foul it was who saved the day for Racing. Well, there was a massive hole in the Racing defence that time, almost exploited by Munster.
Found themselves a mismatch, and as we saw early in the first half, the little chip behind causing Racing a great deal of problem, and their fullback, well, he's taken a blow there, but he really put himself on the line. That was excellent play. Very flat. It's a front row man wide there. I think is that Benjamin Sarr just came on. Oh dear, he's got no chance there. The kick is in field, and that is very brave indeed from Benjamin Fowl.
Yes, Billy Holland, and it was Peter O'Mahony who almost got there, but Benjamin Fowl, who started for France in that test match in Tucumán in June when France scored 6 tries and Fowl got one of them. That was his return to international rugby after a couple of quiet seasons when he spent more time on the physio bed than he had on the field.
He's been tested a bit by the range of Munster's kick-ins early in the first half and he seems to be getting better. He's playing with more assurance as this game goes on. That was excellent play.
That's okay.
There's Keatley. Downey, trying to get the offload off to Zebo, who was looking for it, but it didn't quite go to hand. There it is for Murray. On to Sherry. Holland, out to Keatley. There's Hurley, Lala, Zebo. But the Racing cover was there.
Paul O'Connell's very wide, putting his hands in the air, looking for the cross kick.
And here it comes from Keatley. So bad is under it, as is Fowl, and it was Fowl who knocked it on, I think. Although the referee doesn't appear to be playing advantage. Machineau.
Great play for the 9. He's really been a live wire. He's been quick in body, quick in mind, and that's great technique there. He knows that that's turnover ball. He doesn't wait to see what's on. He just rams it 30, 40 metres downfield.
Okay, just manage your guys in the middle with the scrum caps, please, yeah? Okay?
I think one thing Racing have worked out, Benjamin Sarr, a gigantic prop forward, needs to be kept off the wing in defensive situations.
Yes, a degree of understatement to that. Well, it's getting darker and darker and wetter in the capital. There's Laulala. 3 or 4 metres inside the Racing half. Murray. Billy Holland. Early out to Downey. That was the try scorer there, Dougal. And Howlett getting caught by Sobad.
Again, a complete lack of conviction in what Munster are trying to do with the ball in hand.
Keatley. Foul underneath it, but it appeared to have got caught in the wind, and then, well, he nudged it on.
Well, that's a lucky break because Keatley's kick wasn't a good one. It was what else is on. And then Benjamin Fowl, very indecisive, and he will not enjoy that replay. The trap looks great, and then it just spins soap-like out of his hands. Wants to get 20 metres of very soft territory.
You all right?
Well, I think it'd be fair to say that we haven't really seen the wind that is blowing around the northern suburbs of Paris having any sort of impact, but there, in some defence of Benjamin Fowl, you'd see it maybe played some part in that, but he's been very solid all day, but not that time.
These winds, where have I been all day? I haven't noticed them. Oh yeah, he's just pointing them out to me, and Graham Simmons is behind me, and I can see his index finger as well. Obviously it is windy. I would say in my defence that this ground is quite a bowl, and it does protect players from the wind.
Well, we're moving into the final quarter. Racing lead by 16 points to 10. Change in the second row. Fabrice Metz is on for Francois van der Merwe. And also on Bernard Leroux, the former Border Bulldog. Penalty to Munster.
20 minutes to go, 6 points down. Keighley has to quite simply stick this between the posts.
Well, Keighley's kicking record, the best at the moment in the Pro 12. Missed just one, 15 from 16. Came on as a replacement for Ronan O'Gara at the Aviva last week and knocked one over from the touchline.
I see the loose head coming in there, can't you? You really can. Lo Cicero, 95 caps, but doesn't stop him coming sideways on that scrum.
Well, I think it would be fair to say that this kick, more important than collectively, the 15 he's hit in the Pro 12 so far this season. This to narrow the gap to 3.
No.
And it's just drifted wide of the right-hand upright. .5 minutes remain. Munster still trail by 6.
Still an eternity for a good Munster team to turn this around. We've seen a much better Racing team in the last half hour of this game, but they're not a great team. They're still relying very much on Barkley's boot to give them territory. But the question now is Rob Penny, Simon Mannix and Anthony Foley's team a good enough Munster team to get out of this sticky situation on this bog?
There's Omani. Well, they got him into touch. That was superb work from Czarszewski, who must have driven Omani 6 or 7 metres towards this touchline.
Watch how quickly his mates get there as well. You're absolutely right. The French international there, but 1, 2. In comes Lo Cicero, still real pressure. And Racing will not be throwing double missed balls out to their wing at this situation. That we know.
Czarszewski, one of the big summer signings from the checkbook of Jackie Lorenzetti, the owner here.
Smart line out, 20 minutes left. Go to the front, secure the ball, box it.
Machino hoists it. Batut is after it. Howlett put his name on it. Murray onto O'Connell. There's Keighley. It's another one for Benjamin Fowle. Fowle, a little chip over the top. Straight into Conor Murray, who positioned himself well there.
Really hunting that touchline, aren't they? And they're getting, what Racing are doing, they're getting more men to the breakdown than Munster, and they're driving them backwards. And again, Fowle not conclusive initially, but then he makes the chase a good one, and you can see number after number there. Smash, really good play, turnover ball.
Whatever their ambitions in the Heineken Cup, as we see, well, he's not in shot at the moment, but Paul O'Connell just leaving, and he's been replaced by Dave O'Callaghan. So there's Paul O'Connell. He's got through more than an hour in his first match in more than 5 months.
So there's no O'Connell, there is no O'Gara. The twin peaks of Munster's mighty European achievements are both there. Now we will find out, is this transitional Munster a good team, or are they off the pace? It's a game they can still win, but they're up against it, and their 2 talisman, their 2 key decision makers are off.
And I'll finish the point I was making about Racing Metro, which is whatever their ambitions here in the Heineken Cup, they guard their home record with pride, and they've already lost twice in Paris this season to Johnny Wilkinson's Toulon, and then last weekend to Montpellier. There's Benjamin Sarr. Czarszewski standing over the ball, leaves it to Machino. There's Cronier. Machinot. It'll chip over the top from Barkley. Hernandez is after it. Dennis Hurley straight through.
Good kick, Barkley. Well played, Hurley.
There's Keatley. Barkley covering across. Well, it's coming down outside the 22. And it's Hurley again. On to Zebo. Well, Barkley's positional play, covering some of these kicks. He's really covered an awful lot of grass. Hernandez is following up that one. Hurley again underneath it. This one's for Machinot. Oh, Machinot puts it down. Well, he managed to scoop it up to foul. And on to Zebo. Well, a lot of kicking at the moment. You'd have to say not necessarily the most inspiring.
No, but Racing Metro will be more than happy with the way this is going. Sort of unseasonal Roland Garros stuff, isn't it? And as you say, it's like Barkley's got a brother playing because he's just getting everything kicked to him. Hurley read this very well. Big tackle. Machinot loses that ball, and I think he chips it up. He does. Right boot into the hand of foul. I think Racing will be more than happy, Martin, if the game is just a kick fest for the next 14 minutes. And I think Munster know that they've got to get themselves territory from which to strike, and not 70, 80 metres.
Well, Benjamin Fowler's come off. And Varimi Vakatawa, the Fijian, well, he has now moved into the centre. It looks like Hernandez has slipped back to 15.
At last, one of the world's great full-backs playing in his proper position.
Keatley, Laulala. Vakatawa straight into the action. Munster in possession, but at the moment just being pinned back in their own half. Clock says 13.5 minutes to go. That caught the shins of Machinot. Not sure how much he knew about it.
It's fine from Machinot, isn't it? Booted down into the dead ball zone. Make Munster drop out. I can't remember Munster winning one drop-out restart yet, so it's good news as far as Racing are concerned.
Well, the referee had already decided that he was allowing the change, and it's a change in the front row with Eddie Benarus replacing the veteran Andrea Lo Cicero. Now Roos, almost 15 years younger than Lo Cicero. Keatley goes long, finds Barkley. That one's coming down inside the Munster 22, and Ian Keatley calls the mark.
But it's just give the ball back to Barkley.
And there he is.
But you see, sorry, he's not chasing anything now. All he's doing, he's waiting there like a sweeper. And when Munster kick, he's just orchestrating this kicking game.
19.
Howlett. There's Hurley up to halfway. Laulala. The tackle from Vakatawa. Keatley. Well, that one caught the foot of Batut. And here's Machinot. Well, this is real midwinter rugby of a former era, really, entering the Heineken Cup on the opening Saturday.
Oh, Maxime Machinot, he's willing enough, isn't he? He's a cracker.
Well, Bergamasco and Sabad were after that, and then it went forward off the hand of Zebo. Hacked forward there by Eddie Benarus, and here's Sobad, but that was good work from Hurley coming across.
Well, I felt Hurley was not given the slightest chance to get off his feet there. Munster, they got a couple of lucky calls with the referee, but that should have been a penalty.
There's Murray. And that's the captain, Cronier, on to Barkley. And again, the kick superbly positioned just outside the Munster 22.
First 20 minutes, Munster won the kick-off with ease. Second half, with Barkley orchestrating it, it has been one-way traffic. And you have to say, Ronan O'Gara has been badly missed. No, late in the first half, he was a little bit over-ambitious, but he was striking the ball beautifully. And that right boot of his is a gaping hole in this Munster team in the second half, you know. They're just not able to claim any territory.
Yeah, there were certainly three incidents, weren't there, off the back of one another towards the end of that first half. There was, of course, the try for Machinot, there was the departure of O'Gara, and then the late tackle, or the tackle off the ball by Conor Murray, which seemed to lift the spirits.
Yeah, it's like a triple cocktail, isn't it? And it's just got them intoxicated. And the crowd were quiet for half an hour, and it's not a bad crowd. They haven't gone in banks. They've just moved them all around the ground. And, you know, last 40 minutes or so, if you've been in this ground, you feel like you're part of a pretty big rugby game now. And the crowd, they're doing their best now to carry their boys home, aren't they?
Well, Sharshevsky departs with what looks like a bit of a calf strain. He's been replaced by Thomas Bjornshin. There's Murray. Well, there's a hint of watery sunshine in the northern suburbs. The rain has certainly stopped.
Too late for any team wishing to zing the ball about right to left, left to right. It's very heavy underfoot now. The ball is greasy. But Munster have got to find a way to attack from nearer the Racing line.
Well, that ball has gone against the throw. Here's Laulala. Perhaps a chance here. Hurley kicks in field. Barkley's back again. Important he fields this. And once again, Barkley has done well for Racing. That certainly wasn't a moment that Thomas Bjornshin, the new hooker, will have enjoyed. Quickly from Howlett onto Hurley. Here's Zebo in a bit of space.
A lot.
Omani's outside him. Oh, through goes Zebo! Zebo gets the try! That is superb!
From nowhere, Zebo looks up and he finds that Racing have got forwards and he's just too quick. It's a fast line out. Machinot's kick was a good clearance, but it needed to get into the crowd. It gave Dougie Howlett a chance to go early. Two wide passes, ball in two hands, and there's nothing Racing can do. Janet turns in field when he knows of the threat, but it's too late. Could Zebo have stayed on his feet and got closer? Here's the line-out. Quick ball there. Zebo, he looks up, and it's a 3-on-1. The dummy. Janet turns in field. Now, can he get closer? It's difficult in these conditions. He's going so fast to turn. Nice finish, though, isn't it? Outside Mirko Bergamasco, inside Janet. It's a classy finish. Now Keatley has to do the job.
Well, that could prove to be a key moment in Munster's Heineken Cup campaign. This is certainly another. We've seen him miss one. He hasn't missed many this season. And there is nothing wrong with that.
Tremendous kick from Keatley. His heart will have been going there. He knows the tradition of Munster. Here's the try. Doug Howlett, the captain, goes quickly. Keatley, the man. And then Zebo, all at pace. Ball in two hands. Outside one, inside the other. One hell of a finish. And Munster from nowhere. It didn't look like it was coming. And the pressure all on Racing.
1 point the lead. We're inside the last 7 minutes. And Munster will want to get this ball out of their 22. And he's done that. Here's Cronje hanging back to Barkley. It's now Racing who must take the gambles. Hernandez is after it. Keatley, well, that time off the outside of the boot, but he won't be too concerned about that.
That's all right. It's not the kick he wanted, but it's gone into touch. And unlike Machino's better kick 2 minutes ago, there's absolutely no chance of Racing going quickly. Now, we saw Munster find a creative way to break the on-pass. The question with Racing is, have they got the ability to score a try, or are they just going to look for a penalty? Drop goals hard on this boggy surface.
No problems there for Bianchin. The chip over the top from Barkley. Through goes Vakatawa. And it's the try scorer, Zibo, who falls on it inside the last 6 minutes. Keatley. Well, it's so bad, and Barkley, they're back in their own 22, and Howlett's following it through, putting pressure on Barkley, who finds Keatley.
Come out. Yep.
The captain, Cronje.
Take a step.
There's Bianchin. Barkley. That's Bernard Leroux.
6 Munster.
The clock says 5 minutes to go. Racing Metro in possession, but in their own half. Barkley. Oh, and Murray tried to trap it.
He's going to give an extra 20 metres. Oh, what's he doing?
And look at the blue jerseys, and they've got the penalty.
That is terrible from Conor Murray. OK, you can miss the ball trapping it, but then he's ambling along. He sells a dummy without any conviction, a sidestep without any speed, and he has just handed the game back to Racing and the left boot of Ollie Barkley. Conor Murray, that was a terrible lapse. Where's he going? There's no support, he knows that. He's the last man there, and once again what Racing have done, they've thrown men into the breakdown and they've won themselves the penalty.
And Simon Mannix recognising how costly that could be. Well, Ollie Barkley's missed one from pretty much straight in front. And like all top-flight sportsmen, he will be looking to push that right to the back of the memory bank, because this could be the kick that will determine the outcome of the match.
On all known evidence, this goes over. But it's different pressure, isn't it? New club, old pressure. He's used to it.
And Barkley is solid, and Barkley, the mud-spattered face, and Fabrice Estebanez looking on, who pulled out a couple of hours or so before kick-off, a hint of a smile, and the Ciel Les Blancs flags are flying. There goes Bergamasco inside the last 3 minutes. Barkley, could he prove the hero of the hour? Vakatawa was through on that, and Vakatawa has done incredibly well.
Great tick, great kick.
Machino, Barkley.
Oh, in the corner, that should have gone. Looked up. What a kick that was, though, from Barkley.
So bad play scrum half. Benjamin Sarr. And it's another penalty. And surely the opportunity here for Ollie Barkley to seal victory. Kurimi Vakatawa gets the slaps across the back of the head. Racing, I think, recognised that it was his chase which led to this.
Well, you know, in the first half, Racing went in front, although Munster had been the better team overall. And when Zebo scored that breakaway try, I was feeling Munster are now in control, even though Racing have been far better at the basics, better at the breakdown. Their kicking game has been better, they've defended well, but suddenly they've just come back very quickly.
You're going to take the kick. Okay, time on, there's your mark.
A minute and a half left, there'll be 30 seconds, no more, after this kick. Mirko Bergamasco going, so Barkley down, but not out.
Yes, Barkley, well, he's just getting some treatment about 8 to 9 metres into the Munster half. Well, Mirko Bergamasco was practicing his kicks before kick-off. And this, the reason why. A minute to go. A deep breath. And Mirko Bergamasco could well have sealed it.
A try for an away draw, a converted try for the win. Munster looked almost assured of having after 20 minutes in this game. It's turned around, it's turned horrible for Munster.
Racing have 30 seconds. There's Barkley. There will be one last chance, but they've got to make 60 metres. And in conditions like this, that is going to be incredibly difficult. Well, for a moment they thought they turned it, but we will have one final phase of play.
It's an irony. Rob Penny is trying to turn Munster, trying to metamorphose them into a team with far more skill, far more wit to their game. And then they turn up at Stade de France of all stadiums, and it's an old bog of a pitch. And now they're left having to come up with something brand new on the most utterly unsuitable surface to win this game. It is a hammer blow for Munster if they lose. It is good for the pool and it is good for the tournament, because Racing Metro are a big club and they haven't always given their best. If they win this, Saracens will not be looking forward to Brussels next week, however they do against Edinburgh. Racing will look at this and think, hey, we can go on from here. For Munster, the pool already in the balance after this loss, if it is to be a loss. One last go.
Well, Racing have Camille Girondeau on the side of the scrum. There he is, wearing 21. And look at the power from the scrum. Maxime Macheneau puts the ball into touch, and the whistle goes for the end of the match. And Racing Metro have rediscovered their hunger for the Heineken Cup.
Big heart from Racing Metro, big heart. Poor for 30 minutes, but Munster, the enemies of themselves, let them back in. When the door opened, they poured through. Brave at the breakdown, committed throughout, and the boot of Ollie Barkley sees Gonzalo Quezada's men home. A great win for Racing Metro.
Well, until today, Racing Metro had been one of the most disappointing French sides in the Heineken Cup. Their 2-year struggle to record a home victory is over, and it's come at the expense of the former champions, who have the comfort of a losing bonus point, but whose task to qualify in Pool 1 has been made even harder.